London, 1888. The fog rolled in thick, swallowing cobblestone streets and casting gas lamps into eerie halos. It was a city alive with secrets, and one secret would terrify the world. In the East End, Whitechapel was a place of poverty and shadows. Narrow alleys twisted like a labyrinth. Here, desperation and survival danced hand in hand. It was in these streets that an unseen figure emerged. He would soon be given a name, one whispered with dread: Jack the Ripper. The first known victim was Mary Ann Nichols, found in the dim light of Bucks Row on August 31st, 1888. Her throat cut, her body mutilated. The killer's work was savage, surgical, almost ritual. London panicked. Rumors spread like wildfire through taverns, factories, and tenements. A predator was loose, and the police had no face, no name, no clue. Annie Chapman was discovered next, in Hanbury Street, her organs grotesquely removed. The violence escalated, as though the killer was perfecting his craft. Doctors examined the corpses. Some claimed the murderer had anatomical knowledge, perhaps even medical training, but others dismissed him as a butcher of the streets. The newspapers seized upon the horror, splashing lurid headlines across the front page. For the first time, murder was not just an act, it was entertainment. Then came a letter, written in dripping red ink. "Dear Boss," it began. It was signed with two chilling words: Jack the Ripper. Whether the letter was genuine or a cruel hoax mattered little. The name stuck. The killer had branded himself, and London trembled under his shadow. On September 30th, 1888, Whitechapel awoke to a nightmare doubled. Two women, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were slain within an hour of each other. Stride's attack seemed hurried, interrupted before the killer could finish. But Eddowes, her body bore the full measure of his cruelty. The double event cemented his legend. Near Eddowes' body, police found a cryptic clue, a blood-stained piece of apron discarded beneath a message scrawled on a wall. "The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing." Was it a taunt, a clue, or a deliberate attempt to mislead? Scotland Yard argued. The message was erased before dawn, leaving only speculation. Fear swelled into hysteria. Respectable citizens refused to walk Whitechapel's streets at night. Women clutched each other's arms, eyes darting at every shadow. The final canonical victim, Mary Jane Kelly, was discovered in her lodging on November 9th, 1888. The scene was too gruesome to describe. Even hardened detectives recoiled. Kelly's death marked the climax of the Ripper's reign. After her, the murders stopped, or at least the killings that fit his dreadful signature. Theories multiplied. Was he a surgeon, a butcher, a foreigner? Some even claimed he was a member of the royal family. Everyone in Whitechapel was a suspect. The police chased ghosts. Witnesses described men in dark cloaks, strange foreigners, and suspicious gentlemen with medical bags. None were ever caught. Hundreds of suspects have been named across the decades: princes, painters, poets, doctors, lunatics, even women. But Jack's true identity remains buried in the fog. Some argue it was Montague Druitt, a barrister who drowned himself in the Thames after the killings. His suicide coincided eerily with the murder's end. Others point to Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber with a violent past who was confined to an asylum not long after the spree. Then there is Walter Sickert, a painter whose eerie works some claim held confessions in brushstrokes. Even crime novelist Patricia Cornwell accused him decades later. Every suspect had motive, opportunity, or madness, but none had proof. The fog swallowed the evidence as surely as it swallowed Whitechapel's alleys. What made Jack so terrifying was not just the brutality, it was the mystery. He became more than a man. He became a phantom. Each killing followed a rhythm, almost ritualistic. The slashes, the organs removed, the silent vanishings. It was choreography in blood. The Ripper had no pattern of greed, no motive of revenge. He killed for reasons no one could comprehend, and that made him all the more monstrous. London's East End became a stage. Crowds gathered at murder sites, morbidly curious. The killer had turned Whitechapel into a theatre of fear. For Scotland Yard, the case was humiliation. Detectives scrambled, suspects slipped away, and Jack danced in the darkness, always one step ahead. The newspapers fanned the flames. They published letters, real or fake, that mocked the police and thrilled the public. Jack was not just a killer, he was a celebrity. And yet, for all the chaos, his reign was brief, only a few months. In that time, he seared himself into history forever. After 1888, murders in Whitechapel continued, but none bore the unmistakable mark of Jack the Ripper. It was as though he had vanished into smoke. Some believe he died. Others think he fled to another country, carrying his darkness abroad. Still others whisper that he walked among the crowd, enjoying his notoriety. Over a century later, the murders still grip us. Books, films, theories. Jack the Ripper became more than a killer. He became legend. Forensic science has tried to unmask him. DNA analysis, modern profiling, digital reconstructions. Yet every time, certainty slips away. Perhaps that's why the story endures. The not knowing is what chills us. A killer who might have been anyone. A neighbor, a doctor, a stranger in the fog. Jack the Ripper is more than history. He is a mirror of our deepest fear, the unknown predator, the shadow that never leaves. His victims, Nichols, Chapman, Stride, Eddowes, Kelly, were real women with real lives. Their names echo louder than the man who stole them. Whitechapel has changed. The gas lamps are gone, but tourists walk the Ripper's trail, retracing footsteps that ended in terror. The ghost still walks. And so the question lingers in the fog, unanswered for 135 years. Who was Jack the Ripper? Perhaps we'll never know. And perhaps that's why his shadow still terrifies us.